up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Dear Critics Review. This time we're looking at Q2 2022. And like always, we've got a big quarter to break down. So I've brought on with us today Marshall Strain from the league. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, Micah. Thanks for having me on, man.
Man, this is exciting. I've one of my favorite things about the league is kind of just going around and getting all the different league members onto the show, onto the mic, and getting their opinions expressed. So I'm super happy to have you today.
Absolutely.
Man, well, I want to I've known Luke for as long as I've kind of been in the Reformed Gamers. I feel like Luke has kind of been a presence. And he joined the league as soon as I started it. He was one of the first ones to join in year one, and he evangelized it to you in year two, and you came on to the Dear Critics in year two. So I'm curious. I know Luke a little bit, but I just don't know as much about you, Marshall. So tell me a little bit. First and foremost, who's older? Are you older or is Luke older?
Luke is 2 years older than me. Technically 17 months, but 2 grades.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay,
his passion for games definitely. I followed him.
Yeah, very cool. So tell me a little bit. How were you and Luke introduced to video games, and kind of how did that go? How was that dynamic growing up?
So I think Luke was born with the passion. He was born with a controller in his hand. I was born more with like a basketball in my hand, maybe. And so every Saturday morning, Luke would wake up at like 5:30 or 6 a.m. and we shared a room. And so he would start playing games, whatever. And so that's kind of how it got started for me. So I'd kind of roll out of bed, 9 o'clock, and he'd been playing for 3 hours. I'd sit there and like watch him for an hour, whatever game he was playing. And that's kind of how I started following his lead. Just every Saturday morning, oh, what are you doing? Oh, can I play? And of course, Luke, absolutely, man, come on, play. So that's how it started.
Very cool. Did you guys have any particular favorite games growing up that you shared together or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. Well, so early on it was Ocarina of Time, Zelda Ocarina of Time. Yeah. And that was, so we have actually 2 older brothers. So it's Brandon, Calvin, Luke, Marshall. That's the order it goes in. So my playing time on Ocarina of Time was very slim. Yeah. But I did a ton of watching Ocarina of Time. And then Star Fox. And then I really started playing Smash Bros.
Okay.
So, 2v2, 1v1v1v1, whatever. That was our first, time we could all play together. And so that we love Smash Bros. To this day, we still play together.
Excellent. That is so cool to hear. I love those stories of, especially of, brothers, friend groups, siblings, whatever, cousins, that kind of thing. You just kind of like you grow up around these certain games, these staples, these touchstones. So, and I also love to hear that I am the youngest of 3 brothers. And so I kind of had a little bit of that. I didn't get a lot of the first player controller time. I was always Luigi, that kind of thing.
Yes, sir.
So I feel you got that solidarity there. All right, man. Well, let's move on. We're going to look at the league standings and then kind of look at all the games that came out this quarter. So let me just run through those real quick. So in first place, Alex Castellanos, still Jersey Recon Studios with 97. Excuse me, I'm looking at projected. I need to look at actual. 76 points over there for Alex. In second place, Omega Strain Games, Luke with 55 points. In third place, Ranch Walker, Marshall, 52 points. In fourth place, 47 points, Beatdown Games, Nate McKeever. Fifth place, Yankee Dang Gaming Emporium, that's Logan, with 43 points. In sixth place with 33 points is Crystal Cross Games, Eddie, making a solid showing there. Adam is in seventh place with 26 points, Bearded Brethren. In eighth place with 23 points is Future Backlog Games, Josh over there, hanging tough. In ninth place, yours truly, Doug's Vest Digital with 21 points. 10th place, Boomstick Syndicate, Amanda with 11. And bringing up the rear because he hasn't had a single game release yet. He's really backloading that roster is Jeff, Wolfpack Gaming, with 0 points. So real quick, just at a glance, Marshall, I'm going to toss it to you real quick before we move on. Any thoughts on the standings? You're sitting there at third, 52 points. You've had 6 games released according to the chart here. How are you feeling about your chances of taking on Alex?
I'm feeling decent. I need Alex to stop being so smart and slip up a little bit. Definitely need that. And then I also need to hit a few triples and maybe a couple home runs on the final stretch to compete.
Yeah. You've got we're going to get into your roster big time. It's a perfect episode to get you on because you had several games released this quarter, and you still got a few more to come. So we're going to see how that goes. So yeah, I mean you're right there in the mix. But yeah, let's go ahead and just take a look at those games that came out this quarter. Let me run down all of them real quick. We've got 19 games total, and here we go. Moss Book 2, Weird West, Lego Star Wars, The Skywalker Saga, Nintendo Switch Sports, Loot River, Citizen Sleeper, Trek to Yomi, Warhammer 40K Chaos Gate, Demon Hunters, Salt and Sacrifice, Vampire the Masquerade, Swan Song, Sniper Elite 5, Card Shark, Mario Strikers Battle League, The Quarry, Neon White, TMNT, Shredder's Revenge, AI, The Somnium Files, Nirvana Initiative, Fire Emblem Warriors, Three Hopes, and DNF Duel. Okay, a lot of those games, like I said, Marshall, were sitting on your roster. So let's go ahead and chop it up, man. You had Weird West come out for you. I don't know if this is in order of release, but I'm going to go in this order. Weird West got you a 76. How do you feel about that, first and foremost? Was that a little disappointing? What were you thinking about Weird West?
I mean, I'm always shooting for somewhere ballpark in the 10 to teens range, right? I'm never happy about single digit points.
Yeah.
So not great, but hey, it wasn't minus. So
yeah, that was your 4th round pick, so not terrible there. Lego Star Wars, The Skywalker Saga, getting you an 82 there. And actually, you know what? I think I missed a question that we're going to circle back to here in just a minute, Marshall. But anyway, Lego Star Wars, The Skywalker Saga, getting you an 82. Pretty solid there. I know a lot of people have really been enjoying this one in particular, kind of been craving a Lego game. So how you feeling about that 82?
I'm loving the 82. I wish the game would have came out a month or two later. That way it could coincide with the whole Obi-Wan series. I think it would have scored at least 5 points higher, just because the nostalgia, people watching the show, they want to play a Star Wars game.
Sure.
But I got to give credit to Luke, because year one of joining this league, he tipped me off. He said, look, man, people always love the Lego Star Wars game. So it's a solid pick. So I kind of followed his advice from a couple years ago.
Okay. All right. Another solid pick. And actually, you're full of solid picks here the rest of the way. Fire Emblem Warriors, Three Hopes, getting you an 81. So going the Nintendo route, Fire Emblem Warriors, how you feeling about that one?
I'm feeling great, man. I mean, again, we played Fire Emblem with me and my brothers as kids on the Game Boy Advance. It was a big deal. So I was like, hey, Fire Emblem, I love Fire Emblem. Might as well just pick it. Yeah. So I rolled the dice, and I'm happy with it.
It's a really hot franchise right now. I think it was that was a pretty sure bet. Did you spend how much money did you spend to get that one? Do you remember?
Man, I never bet any more than like $6, unless it was Diablo last year, and I bet a lot and I still didn't get it.
Man, I'm curious now. I wonder if I can see that real quick. It's going to take too long. I'm not going to do that here. That'd be terrible radio. Anyway, okay, and then final game that released for you this quarter, released really recently, the fighting game DNF Duel got you an 80. It got you the that kind of baseline that you want there, the 10 points. So how you feeling about DNF Duel?
Right. I'm happy. I mean, no fighting game mechanic is ever going to compare, so far at least, to For Honor, to be honest. I mean, there's tons of fighting games that have come out since, and nothing has been quite the same. Just the left, right, top block mechanic, left, right, top attack mechanic. So, DNF Duel kind of is inspired through my love for Honor.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm happy with the 80, to be honest. So
Yeah, definitely. Real quick note here, a game that's on your roster, Scorn, the upcoming horror game, Xbox, maybe exclusive, I'm not sure. I got dated for October, so that got you, that you're going to get some points there, it would seem, so that's good. And I wanted to circle back to this one. This is what I forgot before we started going into your roster. Marshall, you are the proud owner of the highest rated game in Dear Critic history. And that game, of course, is Elden Ring. It's sitting at a 95. I think it was a 96 earlier in the year. I guess it dropped 1 point. Netted you 31 points in the league for that 95. How does it feel to have the best scoring game in Dear Critic history?
man, it feels amazing. It feels so good. But I will say this: it really cuts me deep to have picked such a crappy game in Babylon's Fall.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like neutralized it, you know? So all the glory, all the greatness, all the good I gained from Elden Ring was just totally just poo-pooed because I had a horrible pick. And that I've lost a little sleep at night, not gonna lie.
Well, I would too. -17 for Babylon's Fall. That does suck. I get what you're saying there. That was kind of did take the wind out of the sails. And we talked about your third place spot in the rankings right now. Elden Ring is why you're there. So I know you got to be feeling good, but I mean, yeah, -17 for Babylon's Fall. Well, like I said, we'll see what happens with.
Let me point something out now. I think it was Alex that pointed it out. He was like, "Oh yeah, like Babylon's Fall is really what neutralized it." And also, Alex is the one that counterpicked my first game, my first year in this league. So I'll go ahead and declare Alex is my rival right now.
Oh, wow. Breaking news. Marshall throwing down. See, Alex.
Ash and Gary, man. Come on.
Sometimes there are certain rivalries in sports and such where like it's a rivalry, but the one team has always kind of won over and over and over again. They don't view the lesser team as the rival, So we got to see what Alex thinks about this.
Okay, all right. We'll see.
No, I'm just busting your chops. That's super good. All right. Well, let's move on from your roster. You had 4 games released. That's a lot in a quarter. The single game. Can you hear my dogs like going off right now?
Barely.
Okay. I may want to shut this door over here. Well, I'll leave it. Actually, I'm going to. Hold on. Okay. Edit that out. Okay. The Quarry is the one game that I had come out this quarter. It started higher than it was. It was an 82. I remember, I think at the score that I sent in the thread on that day was an 82, and it has tumbled down a little bit down to a 78. So, certainly less, less of an impact than what it was. So that's slightly disappointing. I was expecting about an 82, 83, hopefully from that game. This is the horror game from Supermassive, who made Until Dawn and the recent Dark Pictures anthology games. And the Quarry is pretty fun. It gets back to that formula. I've played it and beat it. I've played through a couple of times to get some different endings, and it's got a lot of fun decisions and stuff. And kind of like, oh man, I should have gone the other route. Why did I pick that?
Nice.
But it's that kind of teen horror schlock kind of you could take it or leave it kind of dialogue, but it's fun.
Well, let me ask you this. So what are your thoughts on horror video games being released in October or any other time of the year? Like, what are the sales and ratings, based on that projection?
I mean, always it's fun as far as the I don't think it's going to affect reviews that much. You have like the Resident Evil games have been coming out in like January or March recently, and those do fine. But yeah, it was, they have to strike at the right time. I feel like sometimes certain genres can feel like, oh, there's a bunch of a certain release out at one time or within 3 or 4 months of one another, and it can feel bogged down. And if you can kind of just stand out in that one little moment, oftentimes they'll give you the score bump that you need sometimes.
Cool.
But anyway, yeah, we'll see how We'll see how scoring does for you in October. And yeah, the Corey, solid 8 points. I guess I'll take it. Okay, so next up, we're going to go down the list of everyone else in the league who got some releases this quarter, starting with the team who had the most outside of Marshall, and that is Boomstick Syndicate. Amanda had 3 games released this quarter. She had Loot River, which got her a 72, only 2 points for that one. Got Citizen Sleeper, came out with an 84, super solid score. And then Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song, a 67. The quarter's only negative points games, so -3 points for Amanda on that one. And looking at, I'm pulling up the rest of her roster here right now. She's got Hollow Knight Silk Song is still the one kind of hanging out there for her. Splatoon 3, excuse me. Evil West, does that have a date? Yeah, September 20th. And several other games still coming out.
My daughter wants to say goodnight.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Oh man, I wish Zoom would caught that. Zoom usually shows on camera who's ever talking, but that was just precious. I hope it caught that. Anyway, Little Devil Inside. So Amanda's got some games upcoming. She's kind of like one of those second half teams, kind of like Jeff, that has a lot waiting in the wings, especially if Hollow Knight comes out. That will obviously be a big hit for her. So solid releases. Citizen Sleeper 84, Loot River 72. Marshall, any thoughts on any of Amanda's games or her roster overall?
I mean, I think Amanda's solid. I'm super happy to have her in the league, and I think she's doing really well. Might need to pick up 1 or 2 games here and there, but other than that, I think her roster is really solid.
Okay. Next up, we have who is after Amanda. It's Logan. Yankee Dang Gaming Emporium had 3 releases as well, and they all came out relatively recently. Sniper Elite 5 got Logan a 78, solid score. He spent the big bucks on Mario Strikers Battle League. He spent something like $70 or $80 on Mario Strikers, and it only got him a 73. That's one of those rookie mistakes, Logan. It's okay. There's always next year, but hey, 73 for Mario Strikers there. And then
I gotta swing for the fence today.
Exactly. But here's where the pendulum swings back for Logan. Give me a game or two on anyone's roster, preferably not your roster, that you think is gonna get that 90 plus, like a for sure hit.
All right. I think it has the potential. Will it meet that potential? It could totally crash and burn. But I think TMNT Shredder's Revenge, if it actually if it goes back to the roots, the way that it looks, then it could do really well.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, an 87, fantastic, especially for where he drafted it. Let me see where he drafted it. Where is his roster?
Great pick.
Actually, that was his 3rd round pick. So no, that delivered for where it should have. Actually, it maybe over delivered. So let's settle in on Logan's roster for a little bit. Sniper Elite 5, Mario Strikers, and TMNT. Marshall, where do you want to start with this one?
Man, well, Mario Strikers, I'm a little bit surprised didn't score as well. Soccer fans are passionate. They love to strike those goals, and so I was expecting a little bit higher, not like a lot higher, but definitely was expecting a little higher. Sniper Elite, people love to snipe in Call of Duty and Halo. Those are the 2 kings of snipers.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of hard to make a game purely off sniping because, it's just, you're not no scoping and you're not like really being patient while everybody else is trying to be aggressive.
Yeah. How high can that ceiling be for that game? Yeah.
Right. So I'm not really surprised that one didn't do amazing. I've never had faith in sniper games personally, just because, the best sniping to snipe is whenever you're just owning other people. And then what was the third one was
Shredder's Revenge, TMNT, Shredder's Revenge.
Shredder's Revenge, definitely recommended. Very, very great game. One thing I will say though, after about 30 minutes, my hands were getting a little crampy. I don't know if that's because
Okay.
I haven't been playing enough games or not working out enough, but I was kind of like, you know, my thumbs, my fingers were getting a little bit.
Now, are you using the D-pad or are you using the analog stick when you play it?
Analog.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I'm actually playing the D-pad on there, and I could understand the crampiness maybe a little bit playing it that way, but yeah, I can back that opinion up. Shredder's Revenge is stinking fantastic. It really
Fantastic.
captures that old school, Turtles in Time, TMNT, the arcade game, all that stuff from the 90s, and really just delivers a great package overall. A lot of like Easter eggs and homages to like old turtle stuff in the movies and others. It's a really, really neat game. And I think
Absolutely.
the 87 is 100% deserved. I would even give it like a 90. Like it's a 9 out of 10 to me. It's a
For sure.
great
And
game.
let me bring this up since we already talked about my brothers and all that. So the oldest brother was Leo.
Uh-huh.
The second oldest was Raph, and then the third oldest was Donatello, and then the fourth was Michelangelo. So like we were already all set in what we were supposed to do.
Perfect.
And after this, I'm gonna text you. So some Reddit user like totally psychologically diagnosed the reason why each one of those had their weapon, right?
Uh-huh.
So it was like Leo had the two swords because he was the most like noble of them all and like wasn't leaning towards, violence. So he got the two most violent weapons.
Yeah.
Raphael was the most offensive of the four. And so he got the most defensive weapon.
Yeah.
With the two bows. And then Donatello, he's the most complicated, mentally smart one, got like the staff, and that's like the most basic weapon of them all. And then Michelangelo, I forget what Michelangelo's was, but it was like, I don't know, he was like so goofy. So you need to be careful with the nunchucks. That way they don't hit yourself. So you need to be more precise.
Yeah.
But anyways, it was really cool to hear some Reddit user like totally like point that out because it made
that's
sense.
really cool. And that's neat that the four brothers, the four Strain brothers getting the four turtles there. That's perfect.
Yeah.
I like that. Good stuff. But yeah, so to wrap up Logan's, let me go over to his overall roster real quick and see if there's anything else I want to say there. He's already had his first 4 picks, unless he's dropped a few maybe here and there. Dying Light, Sifu, Shredder's Revenge, and Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin all come out. So Stalker 2 is delayed. So he's only got Azure Striker Gunvolt 3 left to release. So he needs to pick up a couple of games. He's also got Stray counterpicked, which is Adam's game that's coming out in a couple of weeks here, actually, as of this recording. And so we'll see how that goes for him. So Logan is kind of in the mix. Where do we see he was ranked? Let's see here. I'm like missing it right now. Logan is 5th. So yeah, he's right there in the mix as well, as far as kind of making that push for second place or maybe disrupting Alex. But he's got to do some work to load up the rest of his roster. Okay, next up, we've got Omega Strain Games. Luke had 2 games released this quarter. The PlayStation VR game Moss Book 2 got him an 84. And the next one is Card Shark. It got him an 81. Card Shark was not on my radar at all. I think I did see the one preview on the Nintendo Direct, but solid score there, 81. That I wasn't expecting that one at all. And then Moss, I think that game is kind of bombing a little bit in the sales, but solid score, 84. Any thoughts here on his roster, Marshall?
Always got to trust Luke's roster, no doubt. I mean, he's one of the most plugged in guys that I know of.
Mm-hmm.
The Card Shark was surprising considering his, straight shooting personality. But I expect Luke to be a contender every single year, no doubt. Only thing is we got to put a little more dog in him. We gotta have him a little bit be a little bit more aggressive,
Yeah, I'm looking at his roster. He's sitting in second place behind Alex, and I think looking at the rest of his roster, how it's constructed, he's got a full roster. He picked up High on Life and returned to Monkey Island recently, and I think he's got a real shot at taking Alex down. He's got Marvel's Midnight Suns still coming out in October, his second round pick, so that could get him some solid points. Metal Hellsinger is on the roster, so yeah, these are all games that I think yeah, High on Life also has a date, so these are games that are definitely coming out. So he's going to get some points. These aren't games that are going to get delayed, it would seem. So Luke is right there in the mix with anybody, I'd say. Any
No,
other
no
thoughts
doubt.
on?
No,
Okay, yeah, good deal. Okay, Beatdown Games is up next, and let me scroll on down. He had two games, and they were Neon White. We were talking about it a little bit today in the thread. Neon White, an 89 for Nate. And then AI, the Somnium Files Nirvana Initiative. This is another one of those games that it got him an 86, by the way. Two fantastic scores. This is one of those games that's just like, man, not on my radar at all. I understand kind of the series and stuff that it comes from, but it's just not something that I would have like thought about, to go pick up or whatever. So good on Nate. Picking up AI, the Somnium Files, 86 points there. And then like I said, Neon White got him an 89. That game looks pretty fun. So any thoughts on Nate's roster before we move on?
I mean, Nate's doing really solid, man. I mean, getting an 89, like he's just keep doing what he's doing. He's gonna be okay.
Yeah. God of War Ragnarok just got announced for November 9th, and that's his number one first round game. So he'll get the date for that. So or he'll get the points for that, I should say. Doesn't look like Hellblade 2 is going to come out this year, so he might have to eat that one. He's got some Valkyrie Elysium, Harvestella. He's got some solid games on his roster still as well. So Nate could make some waves, especially if God of War Ragnarok hits like the first one did.
Which so far I've heard it's going to hit very nicely.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if there's fatigue there at all. I think there are some people that are like, oh, it kind of looks the same. But we'll see. I think it will probably. I don't know. What do you? Let me ask you. What do you think the score is going to be for God of War Ragnarok?
I mean, man, if it's not in the 90s, like 88 minimum, I think 88.
I would think 88 minimum as well. If it's below an 88, that's problems for that game. I think that's not where they want to hit. I'm gonna guess 90 is what my guess is gonna be. I think he'll hit right at the 90, but yeah, that could obviously be like a 94 easily. So we'll just have to see how that one scores out for Nate.
Yeah, I mean these God of War people, man, they love the God of War. Like they're very, very, very into it. Similar to the Oblivion, Skyrim, Elder Scrolls type things. Like if you got hooked on God of War back in the day, like you're in, man.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah, that was me. I'm a big God of War fan, so yeah, definitely looking forward to that one. All right, Eddie, Crystal Cross Games had two releases this quarter. He had Trek to Yomi, only got him a 71. That was disappointing for himself and for me personally. I was really looking forward to that game, and now I haven't even played it. I don't know that I will anytime soon. And then he picked up Warhammer 40K Chaos Gate Daemon Hunters, I guess is it Daemon Hunters or Daemon Hunters? How do you pronounce that?
It's got to be Daemon Hunters.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm not a super nerd, so I don't know how to pronounce that sort of stuff. But anyway, got him an 81. Great score there. I would say great score. I mean, super solid score. That's the joke. We always want to get over an 80. But yeah, Trek to Yomi, man, this game looked so slick, and I think it is visually and artistically. Kind of that atmosphere that it projects is really good. But I think where it struggles, according to the reviews, is just kind of the combat and the gameplay is just kind of a little bit. So only got him a 71 for Eddie, who was our year one champion. He's got a lot of wiggle room on his roster. He picked up Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, which could do well for him. He's got Endless Dungeon on the roster, Forza Motorsport, which actually, never mind, that got delayed to spring 2023. That's not coming out this year, so he got a 0 for that. So Eddie's got some work to do. He's got solid points. He's gonna have a good year, I think. I don't know if he'll necessarily kind of make any waves for the top spot, but Eddie's got a solid roster. Any thoughts before we move on about Eddie's roster?
Well, I think his F1 manager 2022 is like couldn't be a more perfect time for him to have that game going. I mean, F1
Yeah,
has been blowing up. The Netflix series came out. Like America is blowing up with it. It went to Miami, it went to Austin. Like I think that game is going to score very, very well. Like 85 plus easy, I think.
I'm glad you brought that up because that's not really something that's in my purview, F1 racing. So I'm glad that you brought that up, and yeah, that's a really interesting pick. And he sees something in it certainly to go out and get it. It's got an August 25th release date, so it's definitely coming out this year. And it usually those kind of racing or kind of tied to a real sport, I should say, kind of titles, they usually don't get delayed, so that should hit for them. So yeah, good point there. I like that a lot. Okay, moving on. After Eddie, we have Bearded Brethren. Adam only has the one game release this quarter, Salt and Sacrifice, a 76. I believe this is the sequel or follow up to Salt and Sanctuary. I'm not crazy familiar with the franchise, but just kind of solid 6 points there. Not a whole lot to talk about with his roster. Let me pull up the rest of it, make sure I'm not missing anything. Bearded Brethren. So yeah, he had Horizon Forbidden West has already come out. His top round, his first round pick, his second round pick Stray is coming out just a couple of weeks. We mentioned earlier. He's got Sports Story coming. Forspoken is on his roster. Just got delayed to 2023. He's got Somerville coming. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So he's got a full roster. He's decked out. He's ready to go. He's only had 3 games released so far. So another team that's looking at the back half of 2022 to get his points. So Adam could definitely make waves there. Any thoughts about Adam's team before we move on?
Sports Story, to be honest, I'm kind of wishing I would have counterpicked that one. And the reason I say it is because whenever I'm in any of these sports games that I play, 2K, Madden, FIFA, MLB The Show, I don't care about the commentary. I just want to play the game. Mm-hmm. So I'm not super familiar with the background of sports stories, but I know me personally in the mainstream games of sports, it bores me to like develop this backstory. I just want to play.
Okay.
So yeah. We'll see on that. I'm not familiar with sports stories, so maybe I'm like totally like missing the point here.
Sure.
Now that I'm looking at it,
Well, I just pulled it up. According to Fantasy Critic, it doesn't have a release date, so I don't know if that one will even hit this year. But either way, we'll see. But yeah, I like that. I like that bit of analysis there. So yeah, he's got a couple of games. Escape Academy, I'm not super familiar with. Blossom Tales 2, not super familiar with. But either way, he's got a nice looking roster that I think can definitely get him some points. So
definitely, yeah. Especially starting off with Horizon Forbidden West. That's a great start. Well done.
Yeah. All right, next up we have future backlog games. Josh only had one game released this quarter. Nintendo Switch Sports got him a 72. And man, I can't remember how much money he spent. I want to say he spent a little bit on it, and I totally get why. But man, you just got to know. Well, I don't know. I feel like I kind of saw it coming as far as like this game is going to be really shallow. I don't know how it's going to grade out. Got him a 72. Not exactly what you're wanting, but I get why he did it because it had that Wii Sports vibe, and he was thinking it could sort of capture that. So I get it, but yeah, kind of that was one of those. That was a trick. I feel like that was a fantasy trick that the video game or that Nintendo played on us. A little bit with Mario Strikers too. Mario Strikers Battle League. I think a lot of money was spent on those, and they both got a 73 and 72. So yeah, not much to talk about for Josh. Let me pull up his roster and see what else is going on here.
Come on, Josh, step it up, man.
Yeah, Josh has got a full roster. He's got Xenoblade Chronicles 3 coming out soon. Sea of Stars, I think, maybe got delayed semi-recently to 2023. Bayonetta 3 is still hopefully coming out this year. So Josh, he's feeling those. I know he's feeling those year one, those rookie kind of blues. He's made a couple mistakes with his money
Yeah.
spending. But any thoughts on Josh's roster before we move on?
Um, he's got a lot of potential, but again, the rookie roster, whenever it's your first year into this, sniffing first place is tough. You're gonna make mistakes, like you said. So, I mean,
Yeah,
it happens. So his
yeah,
roster looks solid. It's just things happen along the way. That's just the way it is.
yeah, sure. And hopefully Jeff will have something to talk about next quarter for your team, man. We haven't talked about you all year, the first two quarters, but you just haven't had any releases yet. But yeah, we'll be looking forward to talking about you in the third quarter. So as we start to land the plane here, Marshall, and wrap it up, I guess I'm going to go off script just a little bit here from what we have on the notes. Overall, look at all the games that have come out this quarter. What's the one game or two games or whatever that just kind of surprised you one way or the other? Like, oh, it scored way outscored what I thought, or it really disappointed, like one way or the other. What's that one game that kind of jumps out to you?
Well, the first game that jumps out to me, which I believe Shredder's Revenge was this quarter, or was it not?
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, good. That one surprised me in a good way. I've always loved, the 2D arcade slasher beat 'em up type game. I've loved them since I was like 4 or 5, and I love them to this day. So I was super happy to see that one scored like an 86 or 88 or whatever it scored. Like that made me really, really happy.
Yeah.
Um, Give me a few other ones that you're talking about.
Well, I mean, it's just what really anything in particular. I think Shredder's Revenge is a good one to call out. The one for me that jumps off the page was that one from that Nate had. AI, the Somnium Files, Nirvana Initiative. They got him an 86. Man,
Ooh, yeah.
that's a league winning type of move. That's just one of those games that's not on most people's radars, or at least it's not going to be high on their picks. It's going to be like a fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth round kind of thing.
Right.
And it got him a stinking 86, one of the best scores of the year. So that's sneaky, man. That's really good playing right there. That's a league winning move in my opinion. So good on you, Nate, for that one. That's the one that kind of surprised me.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Another one that I'm kind of like, happy with, good, is the Lego Star Wars one. Again, like I said earlier, I wish it would have waited a couple months to come out. Otherwise, I think that would have been, sniffing the 90s.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been a great quarter as far as pickups go, as far as hitting a home run. It's been solid though, but
yeah. Okay, so as we, we're halfway through the year. We've had a good amount of games come out. We still got some games still to come. Some games still we don't have dates yet for, such as Hollow Knight Silksong, for example. Bayonetta 3, I don't think has a date. So what's a game that, we're in this era, this kind of, pandemic, post-pandemic era of just video game delays that are constantly happening. What do you think might be the next game that's going to get delayed? Like I said, we got Hollow Knight could get delayed into 2023. Bayonetta 3 might not land, but Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, comes out in November. Usually those hit, but would that get delayed? Or what do you think is the next game on someone's roster, that kind of a big title that might get delayed into 2023?
Yeah, I mean, Pokemon is such a solid history. I think that they have a strong enough backbone to where they're not going to get delayed. I think Pokemon games are always safe as far as delays go. Are they always going to hit in the 90s? Probably not, but they're going to hit solid, I think. Somewhat, very strong. My guess of the other two is probably Bayonetta 3.
Yeah.
That's my guess on being delayed.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to agree with you, Marshall. Yeah, it doesn't. I'm just double checking. It doesn't have a firm date. It's just a 2022 kind of estimate. So, we just haven't heard anything from it, and Nintendo might show it off soon. But I just don't think so. And Hollow Knight, I am getting worried about that one. If it slips out of this year, that would be interesting. I kind of would wonder what's taking so long a little bit there, although it's just a couple of guys developing that game, so I guess I understand. But yeah, I think I agree with you. Bayonetta 3 is the one that I would kind of watch out for. That one might slip. So that's one that I think could happen. I did have God of War Ragnarok on this dock as a game that might get delayed before we got the news that it's November 9th, just a couple of days ago as of this recording. I guess technically it could still slip out of November, but it probably won't. They seem like they waited long enough to say when it was going to come. So God of War should be a 2022 game. So yeah, good deal. Yeah, Bayonetta 3, Josh, man, I hate it for you. I hope it hits for you. But we'll just have to see if.
Well, Micah, let me ask you something real quick. So, Overwatch 2, where is that landing? Is it coming out this year? Is it
I don't know. Is it? What is the deal with it? Let me look real quick. Let me do a little Googling. Did they say when that is yet? I feel like they just announced some things. Yeah, it is October 4th. It's coming.
Boom! Let's go, baby.
So yeah, is that? Hold on a second. Can we pick that game up? Hold on, I'm doing this live real quick.
Hyenas are scavenging now.
Is it available? I'm confused a little bit why that hasn't been considered. Let me look at something real quick. It's ineligible. Oh, probably because it was in a pre-release. Well, I'm talking about like early access. I bet it had that going on, and that would disqualify it. But it's still coming out this year in October.
I mean, let's talk about it in the league chat, and we'll figure it out. Like I told you, Overwatch is still one of the games I play, even though it came out in 2015.
Yeah,
something like that. I mean,
I'm kind of that way with I'm kind of that way with Rocket League. I still play that old game, so yeah. So, all right, man. Well, that is about it for the Q2 2022 Dear Critics Review. Marshall, man, thank you so much for hopping on. This has been a pleasure.
It has been a pleasure, Micah. Thank you so much for having me, man. I feel honored. I'm happy to come on again. And how about this? Next time, let's have me and Luke side by side, and let's do it like that.
That would be super cool if Luke is down for that.
Oh, he's definitely down. And I'll tell you what, we have a ton of gaming stories to chit chat about because we have a super solid gaming foundation. Like side by side, me and him, we could give some serious content, no doubt.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I like that idea. I'm gonna pitch that his way next time we get him on. So excellent stuff. All right, guys. Well, good luck out there on the waiver wire. Good luck in Q3 of 2022. Marshall, thanks again, and we will see you guys later.
Signing off. Thanks, guys.